You're about to uncover a truth that no woman will ever tell you openly, not because she's hiding it on purpose, but because she cannot admit it without contradicting everything society taught her to say. Every modern man is taught the same formula: treat her perfectly. Give her everything. Be the man she says she wants. But the moment he follows this script, something disturbing happens: her desire fades, her energy shifts, and he slowly becomes invisible. Why? Because what she says she wants is not what her instincts respond to. And once you understand this gap, the hidden space between her spoken expectations and her biological reactions, you'll see why nice, pleasing, overly available men struggle, while a certain type of man, a centered, selective, emotionally grounded man, becomes magnetic without trying. Here's the uncomfortable reality: women are not wired to desire the man who bends, adjusts, and rearranges himself to make her comfortable. They desire the man who stands firm in who he is, even when it challenges her. They crave the man who brings comfort with boundaries, kindness with standards, warmth with an edge. Ask yourself, if being nice worked, why do the nicest men end up the most ignored? If giving her everything created attraction, why do women chase the men who don't? If listening to her words was enough, why does her behavior contradict everything she claims to want? These questions are not accidents, they're windows into the core of feminine psychology. Because attraction does not start with what you give her. Attraction begins with what you protect inside yourself. And the truth you'll learn in this video is simple, brutal, and liberating: a woman does not desire the man who places her above his own identity. She desires the man whose identity is so solid, so anchored, so unshakable, that she enters his world, instead of becoming his world. Today, you will learn the treatment she will never confess she wants, but will always respect, respond to, and chase. The great modern paradox is a man trying to treat a woman exactly the way she says she wants, only to collide with the cold, hard wall of reality. Her words, the ones that describe the perfect partner, do not reveal the switches that truly move her. The treatment she outlines is a socially beautiful script: it's politically correct, it's emotionally convenient, but it is not the treatment that awakens raw, primal desire. It is not the treatment that makes her eyes dilate when she looks at you, that makes her body lean in unconsciously, that makes her mind fixate on you when you are not around. It's precisely at this junction that countless good men get lost. They make a fatal error: they obey the female discourse instead of understanding female instinct. Because what women say they want and what their biology responds to are two fundamentally different languages. And in the vast, silent space between these two languages, attraction is either born or it dies a quiet death. The modern man wages a silent, lonely war against a cruel dilemma. He strains to be overwhelmingly understanding, perpetually present, pathologically kind. He operates under the delusion that by being as pleasant and frictionless as possible, he will finally be chosen. He contorts himself into the shape of the perfect partner, the ideal man, the one who never disappoints, never confronts, never frustrates. But this exhausting emotional performance achieves the exact opposite of his goal: it systematically destroys the very attraction he hopes to build. He is perceived as useful, but not necessary. He is seen as sweet, but not desired. He becomes comfortable, but never, ever irresistible. And in the quiet moments, when the performance is over, he knows it. He feels it in his bones. The more flawless his act, the more transparent he becomes. This isn't a new phenomenon. David Buss, a towering figure in evolutionary psychology, has demonstrated through extensive research what should be obvious, but what modern society actively tries to suppress. 1, 2, 3. Female mating preferences were not designed in a boardroom last week. They were forged in the crucible of millions of years of natural selection. 4. It is irrelevant what the latest cultural trend dictates. It is irrelevant what social media preaches. It is irrelevant what they verbalize in conversation. In virtually every culture studied across the globe, women consistently and unconsciously prioritize masculine signals of direction, ambition, status, confidence, the capacity for protection, emotional stability, and a subtle, captivating unpredictability. 1. 4. Kindness, when it exists in a vacuum, a kindness without strength, without standards, without clearly defined limits, does not awaken desire. It only awakens convenience. Women do not want a perfect man. They want a centered man. And a centered man is not a submissive man. The truth that most men are never told is both simple and deeply unsettling. It sounds counterintuitive, but a vast number of women crave to be treated with profound respect, but inside a masculine structure that is firm, selective, and fundamentally non-negotiable. They do not want a man who molds himself to her will. They want a man who molds himself to his own will. They are not looking for someone who abandons his identity to please them. They are looking for a man whose identity is so solid, so unshakable, that he has no need to negotiate his boundaries to keep anyone, including her, by his side. The man who lives to please, loses. The man who establishes and maintains his own emotional territory, wins. And that is precisely what you are going to learn today. Brutal clarity about the one and only type of treatment that genuinely ignites feminine desire, commands respect, and inspires deep, long-term investment. This is not about aggression. It is not about domination. It is not about being cold for the sake of it. It's something far deeper, far more potent. It is the ability to maintain your masculine structure, your core identity, completely intact while offering selective, earned warmth. The majority of men lack the courage to apply this. They fear losing her. They fear appearing too harsh. They fear being misunderstood. But when you finally understand the inner mechanics of the female mind, you realize the risk is not in being firm. The risk is in never being firm at all. From this moment forward, everything you thought you knew will be challenged, because the treatment that awakens her desire does not begin with her. It begins, and ends, with you. Let's dissect the first fatal mistake, treating her like a princess when she treats you like a mere option. The downfall almost always begins at this exact point. It's the moment a man decides to offer a woman a place in his life that she has not yet earned. He elevates a relative stranger to the status of a priority. He lavishes attention before he has received genuine interest. He offers profound care before there is even a hint of reciprocity. He builds a skyscraper of expectations on a foundation of zero commitment. And without ever realizing it, he places himself beneath her in the emotional hierarchy. The instant this happens, the magnetic polarity reverses. Attraction evaporates. The woman's instincts, honed over millennia, tell her she is dealing with a man who lacks a sufficient internal world to sustain himself. A man who lives in orbit around her, instead of a man who has his own powerful gravitational pull. Nothing extinguishes the flame of feminine desire faster than the realization that you have willingly positioned yourself as inferior. The truth is brutal. Treating a woman like a princess when she sees you as just another guy in her phone transforms you into a disposable accessory, never a conscious choice. The immediate application of this principle is crystal clear. Never, ever offer the treatment reserved for a committed partner to a woman who behaves like a casual acquaintance. Before you escalate your investment of time, energy, and care, you must first observe. Does she respect you? Does she respond to you consistently? Does she make an effort to prioritize you in her schedule? Respect must precede investment. Reciprocity must precede giving. This isn't a game, it's the fundamental law of value exchange. Evolutionary psychology illuminates this phenomenon with almost surgical precision. Throughout human history, women have filtered potential mates based on their perceived value, not their declared romanticism, for qualities like a clear sense of direction, the ability to make decisions, emotional stability, and inner strength are ancestral markers of safety and competence. 1. For, when you place yourself beneath her emotionally, when you yield too often, when you hesitate, when you prioritize pleasing her before earning her respect, her primal brain interprets these actions as weakness. And weakness is the antithesis of attraction. Buss's research consistently reinforces that women prefer partners who are assertive, confident, and decisive. 1. This isn't just a logical preference, it's about what conveys instinctive safety. And that feeling of safety is the very fuel of desire. The practical application is simple yet transformative. Stop constantly asking, "What do you want to do?" Decide. Declare. Direct. Proposing a clear plan without pleading for her approval creates a climate of leadership that the female mind finds naturally, deeply stimulating. It is here that the first major expectation shift occurs, the one that trips up so many men. They believe the secret is to pamper, to please, to make her life as easy as possible. They operate on the flawed premise that the more affection and availability they shower upon her, the more desired they will become. The reality is the polar opposite. Women do not want to be pampered without criteria. They want to be led with firmness and integrity. When you distribute unlimited attention, unfiltered affection, and infinite patience to someone who does not offer you the same in return, you create a profound imbalance that annihilates her interest. What keeps desire burning is not excess, it is selectivity. Women become deeply intrigued by men who are not afraid to say no. Men who know how to impose boundaries with grace and strength. Men who can position themselves without resorting to aggression. A calm, respectful no spoken from a place of self-respect is worth more than 1,000 anxious favors. The application is objective and immediate. The next time something violates your personal limits, be it constant tardiness, subtle disrespect, or emotional games, you must say no calmly and without apology. Your serene tone will communicate more strength and self-possession than any emotional outburst ever could. Studies have consistently confirmed what many men only discover through painful experience. Research from the University of British Columbia in 2011 found that women rated men with expressions of confidence and a touch of seriousness as significantly more attractive than men who smiled excessively and submissively. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This reveals an essential truth about nonverbal communication. Firm body language, stable eye contact, and a neutral, relaxed facial expression carry far more magnetic weight than a constant, nervous attempt to appear happy and pleasing. The anxious smile is read by her subconscious as insecurity. The exaggerated smile is interpreted as submission. A calm, neutral expression conveys presence and power. The application is direct. Abandon the automatic, people-pleasing smile. Relax the muscles in your face. Hold eye contact a moment longer than feels comfortable. Do not feel the need to soften every interaction with forced friendliness. Silent strength will always be more compelling than desperate pleasing. All of these concepts can be organized into a simple but life-altering method, the reciprocity filter. Step 1. Observe her investment. Who initiates contact? Who asks thoughtful questions about your life? Who shows genuine curiosity? Step 2. Adjust your attention proportionally. If she gives a little, you give a little. If she invests heavily, you can match her investment. Step 3. If she only surfaces when she needs something from you, you must drastically reduce your investment to almost zero. This filter is designed to reprogram the male brain, to break the habit of treating someone as a priority who only sees you as a backup plan. The man who masters this filter will never again fall into the trap of offering immense value to someone who returns nothing. The treatment they don't admit, but deeply respect, is masculine firmness combined with selective warmth. There is a silent behavior that destroys attraction with almost instantaneous efficiency, the man who confuses being understanding with being unconditionally available. He believes that to distinguish himself from other men, he must become her emotional sanctuary, her safe space, long before he holds any significant role in her life. In doing this, he makes a critical error. He transforms himself into her therapist, not her potential partner. The moment he occupies that role, the space for romantic tension vanishes. The mystery that fuels curiosity evaporates. The masculine energy that underpins attraction is diluted and replaced by a form of softness that inspires neither respect nor desire. The problem is never being kind. The problem is being kind without boundaries. 10, 11. The application is simple. Mentally separate two distinct territories. There is a time for empathy, and there is a time for limits. Blurring the two is the fastest way to destroy magnetism. Social psychology describes a paradox that few men ever grasp. Women consistently say they are looking for sensitive, emotionally understanding men, 12, yet, when we observe real-world behavior, they are most powerfully drawn to men who combine that understanding with an unshakable inner strength. This is often referred to as calm dominance. They are not seeking emotional submission, they desire stability that is reinforced by firmness. Studies from the University of Rochester have shown that assertiveness, when combined with empathy, is one of the most highly desired traits in romantic partners. In simple terms, she wants to feel understood, but she does not want you to dismantle your own structure just to please her. The application is objective and powerful. Validate her feeling, but sustain your decision. You can say with perfect clarity, "I understand why you feel that way, but this is what we are going to do," or "I hear what you're saying, but that doesn't work for me." This potent combination of emotional support and a clear boundary creates an incredibly powerful psychological impact. The tension, the very essence of attraction, increases when you understand what truly creates emotional safety for a woman. It is not the man who agrees with everything. It is the man who knows how to confront and disagree with respect. 13. It sounds insane to the uninitiated, but many women feel profoundly safer next to a man who does not yield to her every whim, who does not play the victim, and who does not react with a loss of emotional control. When you calmly correct a behavior, when you refuse to accept disrespect, when you establish a boundary directly and without anger, her brain doesn't register it as aggression. It reads it as presence, as strength, as maturity. This is a form of emotional leadership she will never verbally admit to wanting, but that she will respect on the deepest possible level. The practical application for this is crucial. When faced with tests, drama, or emotional exaggeration, do not argue. Do not over-explain. Do not try to convince her with logic. Simply place a boundary using short, definitive phrases. "I don't continue conversations when they are like this." Or, "If this is how you want to handle it, then this is not for me." It is simple, clean, and devastatingly effective. Research consistently reinforces this reality. A study from the University of Texas demonstrated that women find men with high emotional stability to be more attractive, particularly in situations involving conflict. This means that emotional explosions and emotional submission are perceived as two sides of the same coin, failures of self-control. The man who masters his own reactivity, his own emotional state, immediately becomes more valuable. He creates an environment of emotional predictability and safety. And this sense of safety ignites desire in a way that is silent but constant. The application is direct: train the pause. Before you respond to a provocative message or a challenging statement, stop. Take 2 full seconds. Breathe. Act based on who you are and the standards you hold, not on what the emotion of the moment is trying to turn you into. This delicate balance becomes perfected when you apply a method we can call warmth with edges. The rule is simple and it can transform any dynamic with a woman. You offer kindness and warmth to those who respect you. You offer educated, polite coldness to those who test your boundaries without consideration. And you offer absolute, decisive distance in the face of clear disrespect. This stark contrast creates a powerful realization in her mind, that you are a good man, but a dangerous man to try and abuse. You are accessible, but not manipulable. You are warm, but you are never, ever weak. This is the treatment they don't ask for. It's the treatment they won't admit to wanting. But it is the treatment they respect in silence. It is the treatment that irrevocably separates the desired man from the discarded man. Now, let's address the greatest act of self-sabotage a man can commit, treating a woman as if she were a rare, priceless artifact while viewing himself as just another desperate competitor in a crowded auction. This internal imbalance of value instantly destroys her perception of you. The female mind is extraordinarily sensitive to emotional positioning. The moment you place yourself below her, she feels it. The moment you display neediness, her curiosity dies. The moment you offer too much of yourself too soon, you extinguish her desire to conquer you, to earn her place in your world. The mistake is not in liking a woman. The mistake is in liking her more than you like your own life, your own mission, your own purpose. The practical application here represents the simplest and yet most profound shift you can make, starting today. You must replace the internal monologue of, "I hope she chooses me," with, "I am evaluating if she is a good fit for me." This internal shift in perspective changes everything. It changes your gaze, your posture, your silences, your decisions. It is an invisible repositioning of power that she will sense before you even speak a word. Social psychology provides overwhelming confirmation for this mechanism. Attraction is not merely an emotion, it is a perception of social and personal value. Studies repeatedly show that individuals who are desired by other people are automatically perceived as more attractive, more confident, and more valuable. 14. It's the principle of social proof. When your life is rich, when you have a social circle, when you have a purpose, goals, friends, and horizons beyond her, her brain interprets this as high demand. And high demand exponentially increases interest. Hiding your life, canceling your projects, abandoning your routines to remain perpetually available to her creates the precise opposite effect. It communicates that you are not sought after, that your time has little value. The practical application is objective. Make it unmistakably clear that your life exists and is moving forward, with or without her. That your world is in motion. That you have goals far greater than simply being in a relationship. She needs to feel that she is getting to know a complete man, not that she is being used to fill someone's emptiness. And this leads to the expectation break that confuses so many well-intentioned men. Women do not want to become your world. They want to be invited into a world that is already exciting and in motion. When you stop everything for her, when you cancel commitments, when you live for the notification sound of her message, when you abandon your own rituals and routines, she does not interpret this as romance. She interprets it as dependence. And dependence is the kryptonite of attraction. What truly awakens her desire is seeing that your life is compelling enough that she feels a genuine pull to be a part of it. When she realizes that you are choosing her, instead of idolizing her, the entire game changes in your favor. The practical application is a matter of discipline. Keep your schedule. Maintain your training regimen. Work on your projects. Do not bend your entire life around her smallest invitation. Do not offer up your schedule as proof of your affection. The man who stays in motion generates continuous, effortless attraction. Studies from the University of Rochester add another layer to this, showing that people value selective partners more than those who are overly available, as long as they remain responsive. 15. Selectivity is read as high value. Unconditional availability is read as weakness. This is the central, critical point. You can like her, you can invest in her, but you can never, ever place your own life on a pedestal that is lower than her momentary desire. The moment you do that, you lose the tension, the respect, and the mystery that sustain attraction. The practical application is clear: show interest, but also show that your life does not revolve around her. You are present, but not captive. You are interested, but not surrendered. All of this can be summarized in a simple, brutally honest method: the axis of male choice. It consists of 3 questions you must constantly ask yourself about any woman you are considering. First, does she respect my boundaries and my time? Second, does she improve my energy or does she drain it? Third, if I had a dozen other options right now, would I still enthusiastically choose this woman? These 3 questions act as a filter, eliminating illusions, cutting through fantasies, and returning you to a state of clarity. They prevent you from giving premium, high investment treatment to someone who adds little or no value to your world. They align your posture with your actual value. The final application is direct. Use these questions as your constant, unwavering filter. The treatment you offer a woman should always be a direct reflection of the respect and investment you receive from her. And when you finally begin to treat a woman according to your real value, and the standards you have for yourself, her desire for you will grow from a place of pure instinct, not mere convenience. In conclusion, it sounds crazy, but the right way to treat her is the way that protects you first. The central, uncomfortable truth of this entire discussion is this: women do not want to be treated like queens placed upon a throne of your fantasy. They want to be treated with respect within the psychological territory of a man who respects himself first. When you place yourself below her, you lose your ground. When you give without criteria, you lose your impact. When you mold yourself to fit her stated desires, you lose the very essence of what would make her desire you. The right treatment never begins with her. It begins and ends inside of you. The philosopher Jordan Peterson often insists that individual responsibility is the absolute foundation of any dignified life. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. This principle applies directly and powerfully to the world of seduction and attraction. Before a man even attempts to understand how to treat a woman, he must first learn to treat himself as a man of value. If your life is in disorder, if you live in a constant reactive mode, if you lack boundaries, purpose, and direction, no external technique or behavioral script will ever feel natural or be effective. The respect you demand from her must first be born from the respect you cultivate for yourself. When you align your internal world, attraction ceases to be a performance. It becomes a natural consequence of who you are. The turning point, then, is inevitable. When you begin to act like a man who carries real, intrinsic value, everything changes. Your communication changes. Your posture changes. Your emotional rhythm changes. You stop trying to please and you start selecting. You stop operating from a place of fear and you start operating from a place of criteria. You abandon idolization and you naturally assume the role of emotional leadership in the interaction. Women notice this shift immediately. Not because you are speaking differently, but because you are vibrating at a different frequency. Your extra step, the one you can take today, is both direct and transformative. For the next 7 days, instead of asking yourself, "What can I do to please her?" I want you to ask a different question: what would a man I deeply respect do in this situation? This question alone will reorganize your entire conduct. It changes your responses, your tone, your patience, your gaze. It surgically removes neediness and installs presence. It is a powerful exercise in masculine realignment that separates the man who chases from the man who is naturally chased. If you are ready to master these dynamics and build this type of firm, selective, and irresistible masculine presence in a way that is deep, strategic, and inevitable, then the next logical step is to explore our advanced program. There, we provide the complete maps of feminine behavior, the communication structures that generate instant respect, and the advanced psychological techniques to lead interactions without any apparent effort. You will learn the models for setting boundaries, controlling your posture, your eye contact, your tone of voice, and escalating emotionally in a way that simply cannot be taught in a free video. This program was created to transform an ordinary man into someone who is emotionally solid, strategically prepared, and ultimately, irresistible. If you are ready to master this dynamic at a level that most men will never even know exists, the link is in the description and the pinned comment below. Click it now and begin the transformation.